It is just me, or that fight scene seemed pretty off. Steel Shaft is not known for this. It really isn't. I mean, Steel Shaft goes in and goes in, but even then, CGI. It had CGI before, but it's not that noticeable. In this one, with Ruby Ice Queendom, it's my first time realizing it, which is on episode 6, realizing the freaking CGI, man. Like, I'm already used to CGI in anime and stuff. And of course, with RWBY, which is fully CGI. So it's excusable. But even then, it's like, what? It's just off. It's not bad. It's not too bad. But for some scenes, I feel like, was it really needed? Were they rushing? And sometimes I wonder, and I can't remember how some animators do their episodes. I sometimes feel like it's best if you want a good product with nice, fully range animation, is for them to take their time and then release it when they have like a big chunk of episodes done, like half of the season, and then they air it. So that way they're not doing it week by week. And not only it wears them out, but sometimes the animation they'll have to make substitutions because they're not making it on time. Anything could happen during those periods when the next show has to air out. So there's that. A lot of times with animators, they sometimes you wonder why some shows look terrible on certain episodes. Not all of them with certain episodes because something happens at the studio, a mishap, because they're making these episodes bi-weekly. You know, they're making the next one and the next one and the next one. They're not doing it like a cool project would be where you just make much as you can by a nice period of time, then release them week by week. That would be a good idea, but unfortunately, we don't live in that kind of world. Anyways, it was just off-putting, but not completely off-putting. It's just that we're watching the fight scenes, and then when you don't, you can see the difference. You know, it goes to CGI for a while, then it quickly goes back to 2D animation. It just feels off. It doesn't feel nicely blended together to a point where it really doesn't settle in with the eyes, I would say. So there's that. But we get to see more of Weiss and pretty much perspectives of the entire Team RWBY. You know, seeing how, as I was saying, how RWBY doesn't feel like a leader. She even sees that herself. She's pouting a bit because she can't keep up the plan. Think about it. When RWBY first got there, she was doing, recon mission, but at the same time, she was kind of sloppy with it. You know, her being very young and inexperienced. And then when Yang and Blake came along, they came up with a strategy, a plan, how to preserve your coins, what to do next. They were just making all the plans, and Ruby just felt left out, like she was just there, you know. And even in this episode, where Blake is going to go distract Weiss while Ruby go get Yang and go find the nightmare. And even when she went to go get Yang, Yang automatically knew what Blake was up to. It just felt like a plan, like a professional would do. And that's where Ruby showed her insecurities. Like, oh man, once again, I'm out of the loop. I couldn't think or catch on or make a plan. She feels like she's not a good leader. But like I said before in the last review, being a leader doesn't mean you come up with a plan. Sometimes it doesn't. You're someone who holds people together. That is your true role. You lead people by holding them together. You think a president comes up with all the plans? You think a king comes up with all the plans? They'll have a council or a table or whatever it may be of people, or it could be people from 2 to 6 people giving out advice, giving out direction for the leader to do it. The leader comes out and speaks it. The leader will come into a compromise for everyone to agree on. That's the point of being a leader. So without Ruby, you can ask yourself, could this team really stick together? Could Weiss, Blake, and Yang get along? They were probably not, because Ruby wouldn't be there. That's the point of Ruby, is she keeps the team together. Same with John. John's the one who couldn't fight at all, but yet he's able to keep the team together. So anyways, I just wanted to say that, because a lot of people get a fusion and think that leaders have to be the ones to come up with the plans and the ideas all the time, but that's not the case. If that was so, then a lot of kings and leaders would not be here today if that was the case. That's all I'm saying. So anyways, we see the fight with more like cat and mouse with Blake and Weiss. Weiss pretty much showing up the powers that she sees herself as. She's doing the summons, she's doing high impact ice powers, all that good stuff. Someone please make a figurine of Weiss in this form. I would pay so much money for it. Because it looks cool. Her jacket, it looks like an X that I can really see her in, which they were in BlazBlue games. But still, this kind of outfit, I would love to see Weiss in the BlazBlue game, fighting against Jin Kasaragi from BlazBlue. That would be freaking amazing. So, that being said, we get to see more of Weiss's perspective, how she sees RWBY as a precious thing, and as precious things, you keep them locked up. Certain people do that because they're afraid of still precious things being taken away. If you were a person that goes through life where all the precious things that you ever had were destroyed or taken away or they left off, and you're left without anything, and you're scared and fearful and all that stuff and lonely, then you get a new precious thing and you love it even more than the last one. But to the point you have that fear in you that you might lose it again. No matter how you lose it, you have that fear. So you do whatever you can to protect it at all costs. And that's what pretty much Weiss is doing, to keep them inside the room. Instead of a prison, they live inside of their dorm room, the bunk beds and all that stuff, even the relics. Because to her, that's a happy time. She's on her own, she's independent, she's had a team, and so she's made, friends. It reminds her of a precious time while she's doing hard times right now. So there goes that. Power is the planet the bus. Weiss is just too powerful. She even provoked Yang, for God's sakes. Called out Yang of how she babies RWBY too much. And that is true in a way. She probably does baby RWBY too much. RWBY in a way can be insecure, socially awkward, but she can be overconfident and goofy at sometimes. Doesn't take things seriously because she'll probably rely on Yang too much. As you've seen in the original series, RWBY just wanted to hang out with Yang, and when they were trying to find their partners, she was just trying to find Yang. She was too scared to be with anybody else, and that's what it is. So of course it set Blake Yang off, and then they just didn't really end well. But so they had to escape the dream. Things were just not going well for them. So once again, they had to escape it, even with 4 of them. So they had to take a meeting. Just think what they have to do next in order to save Weiss. What can they do? And this entire thing, they're talking about change. Maybe Weiss herself wants to change, compared to the change that she wants and the change that she needs to have. And we all go through that, where we're not satisfied with what we are right now. And because of that, we all want to change. The question is, how are we going to change? And when we do change, what is it that we want to be compared to what was it that we need to be? So we want to see ourselves as someone who has it all, confident and cocky and stuff like that. But maybe we need someone that's more, with more humility, and they have what they need, and they know how to plan things out and save and think ahead, to prepare. They might not have it all, but they got what they need. So there's that comparison I'm trying to make here. Yang is talking to Teen Jupiter. RWBY's talking to Teen Jupiter. I keep doing that for some reason. And Yang was talking to Penny. The fact that we know what happens to Penny in the future just pisses me off. I'm sorry. Seeing Penny here, seeing her make so much progression just to see what happens to her at the end, it's just like, why? But anyway, saying how Yang might need maintenance, how sometimes dreams can be access of information that we seek or do not understand. And of course, Blake is talking to Sun and saying how Weiss' perspective, how even though you might see Weiss as someone who hates you, but maybe Weiss keeps having you in the dream if that was the case, and you're always escaping. Maybe Weiss wants to make a connection but doesn't know how. Because if Weiss wasn't there no Blake wouldn't be there. Blake would just be off running somewhere. Not there at all. Instead, Blake is there and she's just running away. Maybe she sees Blake as a runner, and in the day, Blake is a runner. She even said that in the original series. She's always running. Even her ability allows her to run. So she sees someone who is not confronting Weiss up front about the problem. So because of that, she probably wants to have a Blake that wants to be more upfront to her in a way, tell her what needs to happen. She needs a different perspective on the fondness. The only one she has is the one she grew up with, and she can't help that. But when she starts seeing other, other perspectives, other ways of life, maybe then she'll understand that we're not so different after all. There's good and bad on all sides of the corners of the world. So this time, Ching Juniper is going to be joining them this time. And hopefully it'll be for the best. But however, they need to change Weiss's perspective on things in order to really get to it. To get to this nightmare, they need to get to Weiss first. Well, negative Weiss. Like, they could call her Ice Queen Weiss or something. They could have called her the Ice Queen. Call her Ice Queen. Like they did in the show in season 2. But anyways, things feel like they're going to be different, harder this time. This Weiss might be more prepared for them, even with Team Juniper with them this time. We'll see what happens in the next episode. And with that, that's where I'll end it. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has been Madcrownxox on Anime, signing out.